Right guys, so my first tip for fielding on the boundary is anticipation. Similarly to fielding in the ring, anticipation is very, very important whilst fielding on the boundary, and the same principles apply. So the main thing to look out for whilst anticipating is to check the shape of the shot from the batter. If they're playing an attacking shot, you want to be sat a lot more defensive on the boundary to stop your fours and your sixes. If they're playing a more defensive shot, you want to be advancing towards the inner circle to either cut down your ones and your twos, and you can start to affect the game in that manner. My second tip for fielding on the boundary is spatial awareness. You want to be asking yourself little questions like, is it a big ground? Is it a small ground? Is it a bumpy outfield? Is it a flat outfield? Am I fielding against a big hitter or not so big a hitter? All these questions you want to provoke when thinking about your spatial awareness. Alright, so my third tip for fielding on the boundary is to remember that you're fielding as a team. Whether you're chasing out a ball in pairs or backing up a teammate's throw, it's the one opportunity that you can all come together as one unit and really put on a show. Alright, my first tip for catching on the boundary is hand and body position. Right, when fielding on the boundary, it's very important to have good hand and body position. Now, to get to that stage, you'll need to judge the trajectory of the ball and get under the dropping zone of the ball as quickly as possible. Once under the dropping zone, you then get your hands and your body in as solid a position as possible so you have a nice stable base. So as the ball is coming down, you want to be taking the ball as close to eye level as possible, so that if that ball does pop out or does drop, you do have another chance at it. So it's important to have a stable base so that you can take the catch as effectively and as cleanly as possible. Now, whilst taking that catch, as the ball's coming in, you want to get your two fingers interlocked, and if you realize over a period of time when you make a lot of catches, it actually ends up going into one hand. So whichever hand is that dominant hand, you probably cross that little finger over the other one and it'll end up going into that solidly and cleanly more often than not. Depending on the trajectory of the ball, obviously if it's a flatter trajectory, you want to be taking it with your hand, with your fingers pointing forward. If it's probably a more higher trajectory and the ball may be even falling over the rope, you want to be taking it with your fingers pointing up, have a nice solid base and collect the ball from there. Right, my second tip is having good rope awareness. It's definitely scenario dependent, but let's say for instance, I'm starting on the rope. If the batter hits the ball, it goes straight up. For me, I take a quick look at the rope so that when the ball does arrive in my space, I'm as calm as possible, because the only pressure that I have is rope pressure. So as soon as the ball goes up, I take a quick look. That way I know exactly where my body is, I know exactly where the ball's going to land as well, and I can affect the catch in an effective manner. Alright, another example is if you're fielding on a slightly bigger field. If you're fielding on a slightly bigger field, that means that you'll have to be off the boundary rope a little bit more. In that instance, you'll probably, a good way of knowing exactly where the rope is maybe taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, so that when that ball does end up coming over your head and you end up running back those same 5 steps, you know exactly where the rope is, you can stay nice and calm and you can affect the catch. Alright, my third tip is catch, 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 and use the principles from tip 1 and tip 2 to practice as much as you can. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you've learned something from today's session and you can go and put all of it into practice, and when you make that run out or take that catch on a Saturday, it's all worth it.